when they say do your best, there's going to be days where you feel like shit. Those are the days that you actually have to go to the gym. Those are the days that you have to push harder than the day. Because the days that you feel amazing, you're going to get a lot of stuff done. But those are the easy days. Those are the real easy days. And that'd be nice if life was like that, but God didn't make life like that. Welcome to another episode of Kaizen Cast. Small steps, big changes. As everybody knows, our motto is continually trying to help others and growing as a person each and every day. Today, I'm going to, first of all, give you a little preview because after this episode, I have a guest coming on by the name of Ted Rose, who owns Total Baseball Academy, but also had an opportunity to play in the minors for 7 to 8 years. But what an unbelievable story. We had an unbelievable conversation. Actually, today we did it, and it was very heartfelt. He's just a great guy. The bottom line is we talked about a lot of different things in life, along with his career, along with baseball, along with travel baseball, where things are today. So there was a lot of different things. I mean, we had a little politics thrown in there. We actually shared a couple tears together because he spoke about his pops. And, obviously you guys all know how I feel about my pops, losing him on my birthday, March 1st, 2008. I talk about it all the time because it feels like it was yesterday, and I can't believe it's been as long as it has. But it was a great experience, and and we actually went off site too. So that's another thing. We took the show on the road, which was awesome, and we went to his facility, and we were in his baseball facility. So it felt like home to me. So it was something very cool. So on today's topic, I shared with you last week or the week before, I can't remember. I think it was the week before, the Man in the Arena, and I also said the book that I was reading, which I just finished, the 4 Agreements, which I think everybody needs to read, and I'm sure a lot of people have. Like my wife read it, I think once or maybe even twice already when she was in her 20s, and it's something that actually, as I got deeper into the book and the 4 Agreements, it's basically all the stuff that I've been talking about in kind of healing myself. But I wish that I was doing this at such a younger age to help myself, number one, and to be able to help others like I'm doing now. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it wasn't the time or the place when I was younger because I was so hyper-focused on sports and that's where I wanted my career to be. But this is truly my calling, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing, is helping others. And like I tell my kids, like I tell everybody else, you want to be a Sigma, you have to put yourself last every single day. You have to. I wear the bracelet, and I think I told you guys, and I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but I wear the bracelet. It says I'm second. I saw a bunch of athletes wearing it. And then they also have another bracelet that says God's first. Well, go one step further and put yourself last, not second. Put yourself last, because if you have a family, a lot of the young athletes don't have families yet, but if you do have a family, then you have a wife, you have kids, you have God first, your wife, your kids, even my dogs. My mother, my father, who has since passed, people that I care about in my life, those are the people that come before me. So I'm dead last every single day. And it's funny because my whole life, being the baby of the family, I was always put first. And I guess that was, I get emotional about it because I guess that was part of my downfall, because when you're always put first, you can't feel like what it feels like to be at the bottom and kicked in the balls. So I had to do it to myself. I had to take the time, the energy to figure out who I was, what I was doing, where I'm supposed to be, because truthfully, like I tell you, I'm not supposed to be here. And it took all of that. It took millions of dollars to be made, lost, remade, lost again. Getting divorced, finding my wife, my soulmate, having three beautiful kids with my ex-wife who, we're blessed that they're super healthy and they still love me to death. You know, all that stuff that I went through in my life, I had to learn that, it's not about me. It's about putting myself last every single day and being a better person. So this leads me into the 4 agreements. And I guess it was the perfect time for me to read this book. And I just want to touch on the 4 agreements, because the book is great. And I want everybody to hopefully pick it up and read it sometime. But basically, the first agreement, it says, be impeccable with your word. And then I thought about that for a minute, and I'm gonna go to page 26, and I'm gonna read it, and it says it's the most important one to honor, also the most difficult one. And I was like, wow, that's incredible, because it also brings God into the book too. So it says, your word is the gift that comes directly from God. In the Gospel of John in the Bible, speaking of the creation of the universe, says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. And the Word is God. So it's funny how this all ties in for me, because, I tie that into multiple things. Interesting how I brought faith back into my life. Interesting that this book came into my life when it did. And now it talks about God. But I also go one step further, and being impeccable with your word to me also means being as honest as you possibly can, which should be everything. That's your word. And that's something my pops did. I never heard the guy lie. I never heard anybody say a bad thing about him. I'm sure there's people out there that didn't like him, but what I do know is that he put his head on his pillow he worked his ass off, but put his head on his pillow every single night, because he believed everything he was doing was right. Did it always work out? No. But he had he had my mom by his side, and he never lied to her. And I think in today's world, I'm also teaching, my 11-year-old, which I should have did a better job with my older kids. I think I probably taught them in a way, they were more afraid if they lied, because I was like, I never hit my kids, but I was very stern with them. And with my 11-year-old, I catch him in lies all the time. And I'm like, Mason, really? Come on. And then he goes, all right, you're right. So I think it's very, very easy in the world we live in today. And maybe when I was a kid too, because I'm sure I tried to push the envelope with lying, that it's okay to lie, and it's okay to take God's word out of context and use it with that to try to better yourself. But all you're doing is shortcutting yourself into actually not being a good person, or not being the best person that you can be at the time. So I really took that one in, and it's interesting, because it says the most important one to honor, the very first one, the first agreement, and also the most difficult one. Yeah, because your word is you. And when you speak it, it comes out of your mouth. And if it's not truthful, then you're on to the next lie to cover up the next lie, and it just becomes a domino effect. And I don't have to do that anymore. I speak right from my heart, and here's the thing. If you don't like it, you don't have to fucking listen. If you like it, you listen, awesome. It's just my word. But when I speak to people and I know I'm being truthful because I'm speaking from the heart, nobody can take that away from me. Now, they may not agree with me and we may not, that's totally fine. That's life. We're supposed to, not everybody, like I say this all the time. If all the people you're talking to you agree with you and you are never wrong, then you're not in the right crowd. Now, it's the same way if it's the opposite way, that you feel like every time you bring something up to all the people and they say you're wrong, nobody can be 100% right and nobody can be 100% wrong all the time. God didn't create us that way. He didn't make us perfect. So when you read the book, you can interpret it whichever way you want, but that's kind of how I took the first agreement. And it brought back, obviously, thoughts of somebody like my dad, that, and truthfully, my mom, that, I never saw them lie to each other, or there was never. Now, was there arguments? Of course, like, we're human, we're supposed to do that, but they worked through it. But the lying thing, I don't think ever happened, unless it did and I didn't know about it, but I doubt it. I'm very, very confident on that. Very confident. And I feel the same way now in where I am today in my life. There's no need. I'm just in a better place mentally, physically, but it all goes hand in hand. You can see how it all ties together. Okay, the second agreement. This one really hit home. It says, don't take anything personally. Well, I took everything fucking personally, especially from the haters, especially from the people that always disagreed with me, especially from the people that always had a fucking smart answer. It's like, this one couldn't be more of the one that was probably my biggest downfall, because I think about somebody like Aaron Rodgers, one of the greatest quarterbacks that played the game, or still playing the game, actually, in his 40s, 40, or he's turning 40. Don't quote me on that. But what I love about him is that he doesn't listen to the noise. He does things for himself. He likes to prove himself right or wrong. He doesn't do it to say, oh, this guy, here's one. He never got the shot. The COVID shot I'm talking about. When everybody in the NFL had to get it, he said, no, go. He used his words properly to say that he had inoculations, but he never got the COVID shot, because he truly believed that he wanted to do it his way, and that was the right way, and he didn't listen to outside noise and take it personally, to all the shit that was coming down on him and all the stuff that was happening. I look up to people like that, because he's not a sheep. He's not a follower. And for a long time of my life, I always considered myself a leader, but true leaders don't take things personally. So I think I'm just learning how to become I guess you want to call it a Sigma, like guys that know how to listen, but also know how to command the room, but also don't take things personally when the other people don't agree with you. Because at the end of the day, it's your opinion, it's their opinion. And like I said, if you're hanging out with all the people in there that all disagree with you, maybe you're hanging out with the wrong crowd. And again, so many times I would say to my college teammate, Jimbo, why does it always feel like we're swimming upstream? I don't feel like that now that I'm down here in Florida. Maybe I was just surrounded by the wrong people. I don't know. Maybe my head wasn't properly, maybe I didn't have the ability to think like that because of the way when you listen to outside noise and take things personally in a way where you do it through anger because you want to prove that person wrong, you're never going to get ahead as much as you could if you do it by trying to help others and don't take it personally, no matter what they say to you, and try to find a kind word to say to somebody. Oh, that was definitely not me. I'd rather tell you to go fuck off, like truly, than say something kind if you were going to try to tell me what I was doing wrong or spew your bullshit on me or whatever it may be. Now I try to take a thoughtful process, process to listen, and then try to find a solution that actually may work. Maybe it doesn't work and I still disagree with you, but do it in a way where it's, I always have to say it's his opinion or her opinion, not my opinion. But the world we live in today and the way society wants things, and we see it on social media, they want us to take everything personally. They want us to choose sides. Why do they do that? They want distractions. And we're very easily distracted. We get our eye off the ball all the fucking time, all day long. And that's why people spend hours and hours. And again, I can find myself at fault on it now because I say I need to be on social media because of what I do, because I have a podcast, and you get obsessed with how many people are following you, and then there's comments, and then at the end of the day, and then all of a sudden I wasted 2 hours of my life. Think about the young people that get buried in their phones, and then they're also getting bullied. I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but this is what happens. We start taking things personally, and then we try to find an escape, like I did with drugs and alcohol. Well, people try to find an escape in their phone, whether it's scrolling through TikTok or Instagram, and look at this place and look at that place, or how can I make a quick fix and make money? Like, it's sick. It makes me sick to think about it. The more and more I think, now where I am in my age, that I did nothing but take things personally my whole life. And I completely lost a lot of the small W's that I tell my sons and daughter to try to win every single day. And it could be the smallest thing ever, like the puppy didn't chew the fucking pillow today. Like that's a small W. He's not ruining the furniture. Like we just oversee all that stuff and overlook it. I should say, not oversee it, overlook it. Like it's just, oh, well, that's good. But like we should enjoy that moment for a half a second and not just be like, oh, well, that's good. He's not supposed to do that. We always go right back to the negative. But I also think we're always on I always say this to my wife, don't put your hackles up. Like your hackles go up because you go on the defense and like we're trying to discuss something, but we're supposed to be a team, and don't take it personally, just like I do it to her. And I've been working really hard not to be that person. It's hard because I've taught myself that I'm supposed to take everything personally and tell everybody to fuck off. So this chapter, the second agreement, is probably the hardest one for me. Yeah, that the second agreement, don't take things personally. And you know what's funny? Since I've stopped doing that and don't really care what people think and don't really, like, I actually look forward to people saying no to me or disagreeing with me, because you know what that does? It solidifies that I know I'm right. And I smile. Now, does that mean I'm going to be right all the time? No, because again, you can't be right 100% of the time. But if I continually trust my gut and then I go for outside sources to get their opinion on stuff, and they don't agree with me, I should be happy. Because if everybody agreed with me, then everybody would be doing it. It's the way I look at things now. I never looked at it that way. I used to look at it as like, why is this guy personally attacking me and telling me my idea is shit? But it should look at it the other way and spin it. The third agreement, don't make assumptions. That's a good one. I'm laughing because there's a quick little saying that I've always used, and I heard it when I was young, is don't assume. Because when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. And that's don't make assumptions. It says it on the first line, we have the tendency to make assumptions about everything. The problem with making assumptions is that we believe that they are the truth. Well, isn't that fucking unbelievably true? No pun intended. We could swear they are real when we assume things. Now, if you don't have facts to back that up, a lot of times you just let your mind wander into a place that takes you, and again, this goes back to all the things I've been saying about when you live in the future, you live in fear. We do that with assumptions because we're thinking forward that something is happening that it's really not. That's another reason why, and I thought this chapter was good because it was bringing me into like where I am today and what I'm working on every single day. And my best days are when I'm living in the moment. My worst days are when I live in the past and I live in the future. I live in the past with anger. Lots of it. So I don't like going there. I live in the future with fear because I stress mostly about money. Remember, I don't worship money anymore. I still love it and I like to make it, but it's been a long time, so I stress about it. But the only way I stress about it is if I'm living in the future. When I'm living in the moment, zero stress. And again, like I've told you, I give it to God every morning, and I haven't had those feelings in a long time. But do they sneak up on me during the day sometimes? They do. And I think it makes me feel, I go right to anger first before I get that like worried feeling. Because I think that's my default mechanism. Fight, flight, or freeze. I go right to fight, always. And I don't know why. I guess, again, that's how I've trained my body to deal with stuff like that, which is a terrible way. It raises cortisol. Anyways, so assumptions are horrible. Again, assume, you make an ass out of you and me. That's a great little saying that I learned a long time ago, and that's the truth. And then the final one, the final agreement, which I love because I say this to all my kids. I say it to myself. I've been telling my kids since they were born to do this. Always do your best. And I tell my kids, like, always do your best, but here's the thing. You weren't put on this earth to be a regular dude. You were put on this earth to make a difference. It says right here, under any circumstance, always do your best. No more, no less. But keep in mind that your best is never going to be the same for one moment to the next. Everything is alive and changing all the time. So your best will sometimes be high quality and other times will not be as good. And that's funny because I would tell my business partner in baseball terms, it's pretty funny, that some days I hit in the 4 hole and some days I'm hitting ninth. Now, again, that doesn't mean that you're a bad player, but you're usually your 4 hole hitter is one of your best hitters and driving in runs, and your ninth hole hitter is, somebody that's trying to get on for the top of the order. So that's basically what they're saying, because things change all the time. Your highs some days are much higher, and then some of the other days that they're not as high. And it's like anything else. This is why my wife preaches about sleep and your energy and the food we eat, whole foods versus processed food. The days I get great sleep and the days I'm fasting, which is crazy because people have said this and it's the truth for me too. My energy levels are amazing. My thought process is super clear. As soon as I get off track with terrible food, which is refined sugar and I try not to eat that anyways because of some of the clogged arteries that we have, and I'm very conscious of it. Or I have a shitty night's sleep, which it's incredible because I had 30 years of shitty night's sleep because of what I put my body through. And I just got used to it. Like that whole 3, 4, I only get 3, 4 hours. Well, you're aging yourself when you do that because you need minimum 8. I say 7, but my wife says 8, and she says 8, 9. I don't know if I've ever slept 9 hours unless I was sick. But the days like last night, I had great sleep. I've been fasting. I have unbelievable energy right now. I feel clear. My head feels great. Everything. When they say do your best, there's going to be days where you feel like shit. Those are the days that you actually have to go to the gym. Those are the days that you have to push harder than the day. Because the days that you feel amazing, you're going to get a lot of stuff done. But those are the easy days. Those are the real easy days. And that'd be nice if life was like that, but God didn't make life like that. It's the days that really suck, or there's a pile of shit you don't want to do that day that you have to. For me, it's it's checking on bills and opening the mail and doing all stuff I can't stand. That's not fun for me. Fun is me, finding ways to make money. That's fun for me. The I call it the back office stuff. The organizational stuff, I fucking hate. I'm terrible at it, but I have to get better at it. But I have to do that on those days, because if I don't do them, then that stuff's not going to get done. It's just going to keep piling up, and it's just going to give you more anxiety, more stress, and it's a snowball effect. So every day, your best is not always super high quality. But if you look back on that day, yesterday, for instance, I went to the gym and I walked in and everybody, I know so many people in the gym and the guys at the front desk and the young lady at the front desk, they're like, hey, what's up? I said hello to them. And I said, I really don't fucking feel like being here. And one of them said, you know what? Half the battle is just coming in here. I said, I know. And then once I got going, I had a great workout. I jumped in the sauna for 10 minutes, and then I had to go pick up my son from baseball practice. But after I was done, I felt accomplished. It felt like I did my best that day, even though I didn't want to be there. Those are the times that you really, really have to think man, I have to do this. I need to get better at this. the easy days are the ones that like everything comes at your finger, everything falls into place. Everything perfectly goes the way you want it, which doesn't happen too often, right? So like this book, this book obviously goes into much more detail in each chapter about the four agreements. But I wanted to share this with you because it's actually, I guess, the perfect time for me to read this at 52 and be done with it. But like, I think this can go. I think the younger you could read that book, the better off it's going to help you out as a person. It's so knowledgeable. There's so much information in it that everybody at any age can relate to. And then I go, oh man, God, I wish I was listening to this book, 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 30 years ago. If you want to relate it all the way back to my high school days, if I had this book and I was really locked in like I am now, I think I wouldn't have, I think I would have been in a different place mentally and I wouldn't have drank in college. I'm not saying that I would have did zero. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I just think that I'm in like right now, it doesn't matter. Like I can go anywhere. I can go on vacation. I don't need to have drinks to like be happy. But I think it's all based on my mindset and, how I see things differently now. And these four agreements, be impeccable with your word. It says the most important one to honor and also the most difficult one. And that word was given to us by God, right? Like, don't take anything personally. That was probably my biggest downfall. Don't make assumptions. Ask out of you and me. I heard that when I was younger, and I would still do it. I guess we still make mistakes. And then obviously, of course, always do your best. That one I feel like most times I try to. Out of all the four agreements, I think where I am now, the second one, because it hit home so hard, I've come a very long way with that. I'm okay with me. Most people are not okay with what I mean by that is okay inside your own body, inside your skin. Most people are not. I don't mean superficially, I mean mentally. Because they do what I did. Like, you take things personally or you're meek and you follow along even though you don't really agree with it because it might not be the right thing to say or it's not the right thing to wear or whatever it may be. Because people want to fit in. No, I like being the black sheep. I feel like that's when I'm at my best. And it's funny. I guess it's not funny, but I actually did take things so personally. And when I think about my high school days, because I told you I don't remember a ton of my college athletics, some of my high school days. But instead of being happy for me, I want to make sure I made everybody else happy or get their approval. Fuck, you can't go through life like that because most people have their own shit going on. You think they're going to give you your approval? Like, again, that's a terrible way to look at life in general. You need to do things for you first. And then whatever people think, they think. That's it. So this book has touched a bunch of nerves, actually. So I think that it's a great read for everybody. I'm looking forward to the fact that, each week I feel like I'm growing. I gave a little shout out to my buddy that's in PR in Puerto Rico, because he texted me, and I was in his wedding. He's a business partner. He's a great guy. He's got two beautiful kids, two sons that are fully submerged in sports, baseball and soccer. Beautiful wife. And out of the blue, he texted me, "Hey, your last episode was your best one ever." And then I stopped for a second, and I was like, wow, I didn't even know he was really listening. So to me, that means I'm doing something right. And again, there's going to be people out there that say, "Oh, this guy's an idiot. His vocabulary's horrible. He butchers words. He's stupid. Who cares about his problems?" It's not problems. I'm telling you about my life. I'm telling you about how I'm trying to make it better. Problems are for people that don't know how to solve them. That's not what I do. I try to help people get over their shit. And if this touches one person's life, like many people told me before, when I would sit at restaurants or restaurant bars at the bar and not drinking with my wife, and I tell my story, and they'd be like, you have to share this with people. You have to get this word out there. And I was nervous, but I think most people are nervous to try things, and they never do. How can I tell my kids not to be regular dudes and go out and push if I'm not going to do that? That's being a hypocrite. So was I nervous? Ethan's been here since day one, and man, I was shitty on the first episode. I was shitty, nervous, didn't know how to speak into the camera. But like anything else, when you practice, things start to get easier. And that's the problem in today's society, is that nobody wants to practice. They just want instant gratification. Nobody knows how hard this is. Nobody understands that the filming and the lighting and everything that Ethan does with editing is hard. And then we get the finished product. It's just everybody only sees what has happened in, the last 30 minutes. That everything looks pretty and it looks perfect. But it's hours of filming, hours of editing, hours of making myself speak better, think about things differently. Like there's a whole process behind this. And that's what I try to do. Like I tell everybody, the reason why I do it, it's twofold. It helps me heal, and I help others try to heal. And that's what I want to continually do. And it looks like we're making some really good traction on TikTok. I have over 1,000 followers now, which is amazing. I'm trying to get Instagram up to speed with that. And, please keep sharing the message. Keep hitting the like buttons, the subscribe buttons. I really do appreciate everybody's kindness and thoughtfulness. I get a lot of beautiful messages from people, so thank you. And I look forward to the following week when Ted comes on to our interview. It was a great time. So God bless and have a great rest of the week.